Guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video we are going to take a close look at the Legend Gamer Mini. And with Atgames, I have already spoken quite some different products of them. And I did notice that with the Atgames they are going in this completely different direction like the previous reviews that I have made of, let's say, the plug and play devices and so on. So this is more like the new generation Atgames, and I can say already the other models and the other products I've reviewed were not bad at all. So I'm very curious what you're going to get with the Legend Gamer Mini. So what is the Legend Gamer Mini? In general, it's just a game system, more like in Pandora's box, but only single player. So I think it's a pretty genius way for just people who just want to play alone. And of course you can always connect an extra controller, but nevertheless the Legend arcade family is finally here. Inside the box we're going to find the, let's say, the similar stuff with the previous models I've reviewed over here, like the manual. Yeah, and I can say that the manual, you need to take a close look in this manual because there's a lot of information you need to know, because I will explain some stuff here in the video, but there is so much you can do with it. So with most products it's just what you see, what you're going to get, a couple of games, maybe you can add some games, but most of the time it's just plug and play. But with this Atgames products, and that's something that I really appreciate with it, there is so much we can do with streaming and ArcadeNet whatsoever, but we're going to talk about it later. Okay, so let's take a close look at the console itself. So the console itself is a very small factor, I can say more like a TV box. And yeah, that's it. That's the only thing. That's where all the magic will happen. Okay, so another thing that we're going to get is the micro USB, a very long. I think it's a very, I'm not a big fan of it because it feels very cheap. I really like the thick cables, but we're going to get the power supply. This is needed for powering on, of course, the game system itself. You can try to use your USB from your television, is not recommended. So here we're going to get the HDMI cable and of course the special USB cable. This is needed if you want to connect your Arcade Legend console. Okay, let's remove the styrofoam and let's take a close look at the system itself. So the system itself, the Legend Gamer Mini, the name already says it, it's the mini version. So I think it's pretty cool that not only we're going to get a two-player version, but also having a single-player version for the people who don't want to have this big gigantic stick on their lap. Still, this thing is not very small. I just want to be honest, this thing is quite huge. But yeah, there is a lot of stuff going on. So the Legend Gamer Mini is one of the family of the Legend Gamer arcade products. So I already shown you in the beginning of this video, we have also the dual-player version arcade, and there's so much development with these products. And what I do like about it is not only that it's a plug-and-play device, but also what you can do is stream your games. And there is also more like a development, and they keep updating it when it comes to adding new games. So in general, it's very interesting. So when you're looking at the joystick is similar like the previous models. It's not like the Wicked Wiggle stick I have seen with these Pandora's boxes. Here over here we have the rewind button, the add game button, more like a home button, and of course the player one. The button quality, I like it. But it's more like personal taste, of course. Okay, we're having here the 8-button layout. Something I think is pretty funny that they chose for this, because some of the products have just a 6-button configuration. But what I do like about these concave buttons, it's not only the touch, but the form factor. I think it's a very nice and comfortable button to play with. And again, when you take a closer look at the quality, you can hear the spring, that is really funny, but you don't notice it when playing. And I do like this button very much. Okay, here we're having the on and off switch. When you're pushing it, you can see the LED beneath it, it will powering on, so you know the system is on. The LED will start blinking, so it's searching for a connection. So at the back we can find the USB connection that we're going to need for connecting it to the game system if needed. Then we're having an input for power. And of course we're having connection, the same connection that we can find on the two-player version for adding it in an arcade machine. So here we're having the bottom, and what you can see, we're having these very gigantic rubbery feet, a lot of them. And these things will give you a lot of grip, and I think it is a very important element. And that is something you will miss out with some of these shiny stuff. Okay, so what I think is very interesting, that we can use the flipper buttons. I use this from my different product, but I'm guessing you can buy it separately in the future. How, when, you need to ask Atgames themselves, I don't know at the moment. So I did see that we're having the connections on the side, so that's quite interesting. So also with the single player version, you can use the adapter, as you can see over here, and then you can assemble it. It's very easy, you just need to put it in the right position, use the 2 screws that comes with it, and that's it. Very easy to do so. Just grab yourself a basic screwdriver, and that's it. positioning them, and we're having a flipper button on the side. So I think it's pretty cool that even with the mini version, we're going to get this option. And again, I think you need to buy them separately. I like the buttons. Okay, so let's take a close look at the hockey puck, or better said, the game console. So with the Legends Connect, I think this device is just like freaking magic. So what can we do with it? Very simple. We're having, of course, the Bluetooth button over here. Micro USB for giving the system some juice, USB for connecting a device like a controller. Then we're having HDMI out and an Ethernet, so if you want to hook it up to your cabled internet for future updates and streaming, you can do so. Alright, so let's take a close look at the game software, because I think Atgames did an amazing job with this. There are so many options, there are so many ways to play, and we're going to discuss it today. Okay, so let's start with the games, because with the games, this is also very interesting. So the Legend Mini comes with 100 games at the moment. I'm making this video, and what I think is very interesting, it's more like a mix of everything. So you're going to get the system, you already have 100 games to play with. And with 100 games, you just like a mix of, let's say, 16-bit games like Sega Mega Drive. I did see some Super NES games. We also have very old school games, but when you're looking at the arcade stuff, there's a lot of mix, and I think it's just one big, gigantic, awesome piece of history when you're looking at the games that they are giving us. So when it comes to the games that are preloaded, I think 100 games, maybe for a lot of people thinking 100 games, not a lot, but the game that you're going to get is pretty cool. So at the left sidebar, we're going to get some search options for the 100 games. It's more like, let's say, a search option. Here you can see we're having the channels, so you know what kind of, let's say, brand. Here having the platforms, so you want to choose for arcade, Genesis and other consoles. We can do it over here. Then we're having the input, and of course we're only having a joystick. There's only going to get the input of the joystick. Alright, so let's take a close look at the other options. So we're having ArcadeNet. ArcadeNet, bring your own games and settings. But let's take a close look at ArcadeNet. ArcadeNet is something you need to have more like a subscription to. And with the subscription, you can basically have an unlimited streaming service for new games. And this will be updated in the future. So in the end, what you're going to get is just an unlimited amount of games. As you can see, I didn't connect to it, so I can't play. But when you're looking at the bring your own games, we're having add-on, add-on X, cloud, bring your own games, local streaming. There is so much you can do with this device beside the streaming service ArcadeNet. So if you want to go naughty, you can always use the coin op X. As you can see, I didn't add it, but just wanted to show you can do so. Okay, so let's take a close look at the settings menu. I think it's very interesting to see all these options, so you can do a lot of configuration if you're having some problems. But what I think is pretty cool is the way you can play. The portrait mode is something you don't see very often with these Pandora box lookalike or Pandora box systems. Nowadays, the vertical screen option is just almost nowhere to be found, and the Atgames did give us the options to play the games like this. Oh, by the way, if you want to see more gameplay out about the Atgames, go check the gaming channel, because I just wanted to focus on the main review with this. So I know that a lot of people hate the widescreen option because the game were never made for a widescreen display, and I completely understand. And what I do like about the Atgames products, that we're going to get the sidebars, more similar like the Raspberry Pi. But besides this, we're also having different options, and I think these options are pretty cool. So when you're pressing the Atgames button in-game, you're going to get the menu where you can go back. But as you can see, the save slot doesn't apply for every single game. That is something you need to take into consideration. But the other thing, that is pretty cool. So we're having here the display mode. As you can see, we can put it in different positions. Pixel perfect, widescreen if you do like the widescreen, center, and I do like the fit. And of course, we're having scanline filter. That is also very interesting. In my opinion, with the scanline filter, Atgames brings this basically to the next level. I think it looks pretty cool, but that's something, yeah, leave it in the comments. What do you think of scanline filters, more like a software filter? But I can say that playing on the Legend Ultimate is just really cool, and it's just a completely different experience with different system I've reviewed here on the channel. Of course, if you're having the Pro Stick or the Mini, basically the same software, I did notice that the Pro Stick will have more games, but in the end, the software itself is exactly the same, and I think it's just really cool. We're having so many options nowadays when it comes to arcade, but this thing is just pretty awesome in my opinion. So there you have it, this is my review of the Legend Gamer Mini. This is what you can do with it and this is what you're going to get. So let me know in the comments what you think of this. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing to the channel, hit the little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.